The old swordsman stands alone in the courtyard, snow drifting around him like drifting fragments of forgotten time. Three younger warriors circle him, their blades trembling with anticipation. His sword remains sheathed. He waits motionless as if carved from the silence itself. Then in a single breath, too fast to see, too simple to comprehend, he moves. One step, one cut, one stillness. The opponents collapse into the snow without understanding what killed their intent. There is no flourish, no complexity, no sign of effort. Only clarity, only mastery. Cut to the present day. A student hunched over a desk, drowning in textbooks, tabs, video courses, and productivity hacks. Charts, flashcards, tutorials saved in endless playlists. They scroll, take notes, switch apps, start over, switch again, restart a different method, jump between teachers, and somehow feel more incompetent with each attempt. Despite having access to infinite information, they can't perform even the basics with confidence. You see the confusion, the frustration, the exhaustion that comes from knowing too much yet mastering nothing. And then the question forms like a crack in the walls of modern certainty. Why do we, with every tool in human history at our fingertips, struggle to learn the simplest things? Why did ancient warriors and artists reach mastery without textbooks, apps, schools, or systems, while we, in this age of unlimited knowledge, remain perpetual beginners? What if the very structure of modern learning is designed not to make you powerful, but to keep you dependent, confused, and endlessly searching? What if everything you've been taught about learning was never meant to make you a master at all? The truth becomes clearer as you step back and examine the landscape of modern education. Today's learner isn't empowered, they're overwhelmed. You bounce between YouTube tutorials, online courses, newsletters, ebooks, hacks, summaries, threads, and comment sections. Your brain becomes a browser with too many tabs open, each promising mastery but delivering only distraction. It's a strange kind of paralysis. You're always learning but never progressing, always consuming but never creating. You feel productive without actually producing anything. You move endlessly yet arrive nowhere. It's the paradox of choice amplified by digital abundance. With infinite paths, you struggle to take even a single step. Platforms encourage this state because it's profitable. The longer you remain confused, the more content you consume. The more insecure you feel, the more courses you buy. The more you doubt your ability, the more you depend on systems that promise clarity. Modern learning environments aren't broken, they're functioning exactly as intended. They produce audiences, not masters, followers, not thinkers, students, not creators. This isn't conspiracy, it's design. Information without structure becomes noise. Noise becomes dependence, and dependence becomes an industry worth billions. But before all the noise, before the systems and institutions, there existed a different way of learning. It demanded sacrifice. It demanded humility. And it forged dangerous individuals, people who didn't need constant guidance because they carried mastery within themselves. It was called shuhari. Shrouded in the rituals of ancient Japan, passed quietly through the lineages of samurai monks and craftsmen, shuhari wasn't merely a technique, it was a philosophy of transformation. It divided the path of mastery into three silent stages. Shu, the beginning, meaning to protect or obey. Ha, the breaking of form. Rai, the final separation where the learner transcends all structure. This was not a method for the masses. It was sacred knowledge, quiet knowledge. Knowledge that created independent masters capable of standing alone. The potter shaping clay in a Kyoto workshop followed shuhari. The calligrapher practicing strokes at dawn followed shuhari. The swordsman facing death with calm breath followed shuhari. They all understood that learning wasn't about accumulation. It was about becoming something you weren't before. Those who embraced it didn't remain students for long. They became forces of nature, self-contained, self-directed, and untouchable. The journey always began with Shu. In a culture obsessed with originality, Shu feels like a scandal. It asks you to do the opposite of what the modern world celebrates. Instead of discovering your voice, you silence it. Instead of expressing yourself, you vanish behind the master. Instead of endless variety, you repeat the same action until your ego dissolves. In a Zen monastery, the student spends months copying a single brushstroke, over and over, until the stroke begins to breathe with life. In a samurai dojo, you repeat kata thousands of times with no deviation, no interpretation, no creativity. Apprentice craftsmen sweep floors, carry water, and observe silently for months before touching tools. This isn't punishment, it's foundation. Neuroscience confirms what the ancients knew without vocabulary. Repetition wires the brain. Movement becomes memory. Technique becomes instinct. The mind stops interfering and the body begins to understand. In Shu, you download decades of wisdom directly into your nervous system. You adopt the master's rhythm, posture, timing, worldview. You imitate not just what they do, but how they see. Modern learners resist this because it feels like surrender. They want creativity before competence, autonomy before understanding, improvisation before mastery. But skipping Shu traps you in surface-level knowledge. You understand concepts intellectually yet fail to embody them. You can explain how something works but cannot do it with grace or reliability. Shu destroys that illusion. It humbles you. It sharpens you. It implants precision in your bones. It is not mindless repetition but mindful absorption, the gateway to true skill. And then when the form is internalized, Ha emerges. This is the stage modern culture romanticizes, the rebellion phase, the moment you begin to make the art your own. But Ha is meaningless without Shu. Without the disciplined structure forged in repetition, rebellion is just noise, style without substance, freedom without grounding. In Ha, you begin to question what you once obeyed. You explore variations, compare techniques, experiment with angles, rhythms, interpretations. You peel back the surface to understand the underlying principles. This is the jazz musician who can improvise because they mastered classical scales first. This is Picasso creating abstract forms after years of academic precision. It is rebellion rooted in respect, exploration born from mastery. In Ha, identity begins to take shape. You differentiate yourself from your teacher, not out of arrogance but necessity. You are no longer a mirror, you are a prism. You absorb, bend, refract. You integrate perspectives from other disciplines. You test what works for you and discard what doesn't. The mind catches up to what the body already knows. This is where individuality becomes authentic, not forced, not invented, but revealed. The tragedy of modern learners is that they desperately try to start here. They want to be unique without being competent, innovative without being grounded. Ha shows the truth. Originality isn't the starting point. It's the reward earned through discipline. Beyond rebellion lies Rai. This final stage feels almost mystical. It is the dissolution of form, the moment mastery becomes effortless. You move without thinking, create without forcing, respond without hesitation. You are no longer bound by technique because technique lives within you. A swordsman at Rai doesn't analyze his movements during combat. His body moves before thought. An artist at Rai doesn't plan beauty. It flows naturally, shaped by years of invisible discipline. A musician at Rai doesn't play notes, they play truth. This is Mushin, the Zen state of no mind. It is flow but deeper. It is unconscious competence elevated to art. Rai cannot be faked. It cannot be hacked or rushed. It is the organic final bloom of seeds planted in Shu and cultivated in Ha. Even if you never reach Rai, the attempt transforms you. It refines your character, sharpens your perception, and engraves patience into your spirit. Rai is not a destination. It is the horizon that pulls you forward. The beauty of Shuhari is that it doesn't belong to the past. It applies seamlessly to the modern world. If you want to become a writer, you begin with Shu. Study the masters, copy passages, absorb their rhythm, structure, tone. Only when their patterns live within you do you enter Ha, experimenting with voice, packing themes. Then, if you persist, Rai emerges. Writing becomes an extension of your thinking. If you're learning to code, Shu is copying tutorials precisely, line by line, until the patterns become second nature. Ha is modifying programs, solving variations, understanding deeper structures. Rai is building systems from nothing, thinking in algorithms the way a musician thinks in melody. Shuhari applies to fitness, negotiation, storytelling, leadership, social skills. To learn charisma, you imitate those who possess it, copying their cadence, posture, timing. Then you bend it to match your personality. Eventually, influence becomes effortless. But modern culture tells you imitation is fake, that authenticity must come first. The ancient Japanese understood the opposite. Authenticity is the final stage, not the starting point. You can't truly be yourself until you first learned what excellence feels like in the body. Shuhari isn't blind obedience, it's strategic surrender. You choose your master, you choose your path, and you choose to trust the process because it leads somewhere permanent. In a world of scattered attention and shallow engagement, this is the antidote. And now, as the journey returns to you, the path splits. One future is familiar. You continue consuming endless tutorials, books, podcasts, courses. You keep hopping between mentors, systems, frameworks, and hacks. You mistake acquisition for transformation, information for wisdom. You remain busy but not skilled, informed but not empowered. You grow older without growing deeper. Your potential remains theoretical. The other future is narrow, steep, and ancient. You choose one discipline, one master, one form. You bury your ego in the soil of shu and practice until your body changes. You enter ha with confidence, not confusion. You adapt, explore, personalize. And maybe, if patience becomes part of your nature, you glimpse rai not as a destination but as a quiet transformation that reshapes who you are. 10 years from now, you will either be a master of something or a collector of abandoned beginnings. The difference is not talent. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is the path you choose now. There is no secret technique hidden behind expensive courses or complicated systems. There is only the path walked by warriors, monks, artists, and craftsmen who refused distraction, who embraced humility, who followed Shuhari to its natural end. The ancient path is still here, waiting for someone brave enough to stop searching and begin becoming.